Data log 2026, May 6, day 67. Today, a friend that I met in Hangzhou in a English corner, his name is Bob, came visit with his 3 dogs, which was fun. I love pets. I just haven't had the chance of raising a dog on my own when I was just traveling all the time back then. And that reminds me, one of my bucket list is to get a border collie when I finally retire in a place where it has a big yard, maybe like a small town near Dali in Yunnan, China. And today's diary, Bob and I discussed various things. He studied abroad in the US as well, came back to China, now working in pet store, cross-border e-commerce. What was that? Pictures from WeChat. And he and I discussed kind of this reverse culture shock, or this mix of the West and the East for those who study abroad. I mean, statistically, I think a lot of people study abroad. Let's take a look at the statistics. Between 2000 and 2020, what are the statistics for Chinese mainland students study abroad?
Statistics on Chinese mainland students studying abroad, 2020. Below is a systematic overview of official data from the Ministry of Education of the People's Republic of China, covering outbound study scales, growth trends, key characteristics, and return rates between 2000 and 2021. Overall scale and annual growth. The number of Chinese mainland students studying abroad saw sustained and rapid expansion over the 2 decades. 2000, total outbound students equals 38,989. 2005, total outbound students
4 times in 5 years.
118,515. 2010, total outbound students equals 284,700.
And then twice in another
2015,
5
total
years.
outbound students equals
And then 2 times again.
523,700. 2019, pre-pandemic peak. Total outbound students equals 703,500, all-time high before COVID-19. 2020. Total outbound students equals 662,100, slight decline due to global pandemic restrictions, visa disruptions, and travel bans. Total cumulative 2000 to 2020, over 6.5 million Chinese mainland citizens studied abroad. 2.
6.5 million Chinese mainland citizens study abroad. Wow. What's the percentage of Chinese mainland citizens study abroad over the total population in the Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities in mainland China?
Percentage of mainland Chinese students studying abroad versus total population Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities. Below is calculated official base percentage data for Chinese mainland citizens studying abroad 2020 cumulative relative to the total population of China's Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities plus annual outbound ratios. Key definitions. Tier 1 cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. Tier 2 cities. Approximately 30 major provincial capitals and developed second-tier cities. Hangzhou, Nanjing, Chengdu, Wuhan, Tianjin, Chongqing, Xi'an, Qingdao, Ningbo, Wuxi, etc. Data source, China Ministry of Education, National Bureau of Statistics, 2020 Census Population. 1. Cumulative abroad students, 2000
So 6.5 million?
2020 versus city population. Tier 1 cities. 4 cities, total population, approximately 75 million. Cumulative mainland students studying abroad, 2000 to 2020, 6.5 million total nationwide. Tier 1 cities account for approximately 35% of all outbound students.
35%. Over a third of the Tier 1 city students study abroad. A third. So, and they have a return rate actually. Return rate is exceeded 80% between 2019 and 2020. What's the current return rate of Chinese mainland students study abroad in 2020 to 2025?
Return rate of Chinese mainland students studying abroad, 2020-2025. Below is official data from the Ministry of Education of China, combined with authoritative industry reports, CICC.
Cumulative
return rate. Total people who studied abroad, approximately 7.8 million. Total returnees, 6.8 million.
Please switch to
Cumulative
Chinese.
overall return rate, approximately equals 87.2%. This means nearly 9 out of 10 Chinese mainland students who study abroad eventually come back to China.
All right. Okay, so near 87.2% out, nearly 9 out of every 10 students study abroad. So, and then it depends on the time. Like for me, almost more than 22 years, I'm probably one of the 8 not typical ones, studied and stayed out that long. And this kind of mix and some reverse culture shock. I mean, I'll pick the top 3. The first one I'm so used to and missed about the culture in the US is strangers say hi and say hello, and friends see each other, they will shake hands or hug, some physical kind of body interaction in kind of showing, psychologically humans needs both the body psychological connection and the mind, right? And in China, that's not a thing. You shake hands in a very formal setting, and if I meet someone, I put out my hand, they'll be like, "Whoa, like I'm not that formal," right? And people don't, and there's no hugging at all. I tried to do that with Maggie in the beginning; she didn't like it. Nowadays, she learns a little bit okay with it. So that's a physical hugging and handshake. I miss those. So when I see friends who study abroad, I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if we do a hug? I really miss it." So I get hugs from friends who study abroad. Second thing is about what you say and what you do and what you think are 3 different things. That is, I think, the most challenging part for me. Now, none of this is right or wrong or not black and white, right? It's just different values, different cultures, different approaches, different society norm. And what you say, what you do, and what you think, not just in China mainland, but across Asia, like in India and Philippines, are very different. People, will say something nice, pretend, or and then will not speak their mind directly, and you have to read between the lines. And Chinese language is already a very high context language. English language is very direct. So, and then I will interpret only directly, and then it's not what they meant, and what they do is different. They were like, oh, of course we'll welcome you, or let's do something together, and then crickets. And then you have to read between the lines, or like the teacher at the kindergarten may say that, oh, when you are picking up and dropping off Maggie is so excited, and Maggie's mom tell me that interpretation is I shouldn't be videotaping Maggie because the teachers feel uncomfortable. I'm like, how the hell do I know from Maggie is so excited because I'm picking her up to, how do I even know that translation, that they don't like to be, they don't like me videotaping Maggie to collect data for AI. So actually, doing my workshop in her kindergarten school, I actually explained it, and I'm trying to create an AI clone version of Maggie, and that's why I'm videotaping. And most of my, I try to focus on my data collection only on Maggie. So what people say, what people think, and then what people do are very different. And what people think is very hard to interpret sometimes. And I found in my mom's group and dad's group, the dad's group is even more like, especially like the businessmen, they will say things very nicely and kind of feel like a little bit tricked, offended. Like they will invite you doing this, doing that. Like people love to invite you to eat, but they don't collaborate. They don't get you the business. Like, food is cheap. It's kind of hospitality kind of thing, but actually, getting business, no. But mom's group is a lot more straightforward, I feel. A lot more straightforward. Of course, in the society, the first rule, first principle is to exchange values, right? So if you have something valuable, you want to share that first, at least in my experience in the US, and then law of attraction will attract other people to come and exchange value with you. And for me, being a volunteer lifestyle in nonprofit for almost 2 decades now, and to me, it's like growing my own skills and creating my own value. And if I'm valuable, if something I do or something I say or something I have is valuable, then I can share that with the world. And then law of attraction will attract similar people to come. And then in society, the economic society, I just need to focus on what I think can be problem solving and creating value for others, because then others will validate and reply that back by validating it with economic value like payments and such. Right? So money is always a byproduct in terms of follow the passion and follow the work. But here, I found the culturally belief is, 搞钱搞钱, like let's make money, right? And I think culturally it makes sense, because like in Happy Chinese New Year, you don't say Happy Chinese New Year, you say 恭喜发财, like wish you more money. So that's a challenge, I think, for me to kind of align, or not able to align, or hard to figure it out, because I always focus on the problem solving as an engineer mind, and trying to create value first, like for others. And then I believe the byproduct of that, money will eventually come as a reward. So that's what I found the most challenging culture shock. Now, the third culture shock is this hurry. Like everything is really fast. Like if someone wants to set up a workshop with me, we chat today, and then it could be like, chat on Wednesday, workshop on Sunday. Like and normally in the US, it's at least like 1 week in advance. You plan it out. So everything is a hurry, like 很急, like very hurry kind of concept, much more hurry than what I experienced in the US. Perhaps in New York, in the big mega metropolitan cities, that fast-paced life, and it's much, much faster as a producer in the society. As a consumer, you don't have to. In the consumer, you get the benefit of it, like all the services like shipping or getting people to come and repair, facilities folks, like immediately you order something, within a day or two, the shipment is here. So people really, I think it's because of competition as a producer involution, like 内卷 community, society right now. And to be a producer, to me, is a reverse culture shock of talking with people that we plan to do something, and that planning usually is within a week, not after a week, kind of a norm. So those are my 3 reverse culture shocks for discussing and chatting that with Bob. The other things I think is more personal, but related to marriage and relationship and like buying houses or bridal gifts and things like that, 嫁妆, or like or 彩礼. What's 嫁妆 and 彩礼? 嫁妆彩礼 English.
核心翻译最地道通用版。
A dowry.
1. 彩礼 bride price 国际通用
That's
最标
very
准。
wrong. Like a price to buy a bride.
偏正式书面 dowry payment
Dowry payment.
对应嫁妆，强调男方支付。
Dowry.
2. 嫁妆 dowry 全球通用，法律学术最标。
But that's for another day. So yeah, for top 3 are the physical hugs and handshake. The what you say, what you do, and what you think are very different. I think Gandhi had a quote where if what you say, what you do, and what you think are the same, you are more happier. And I feel people are not so happy relatively. Compare that to what I feel normally, and much more relaxed. Here is anxiety is very high in all aspects. And then the third part is this sense of hurriness, like things, when you plan it, it immediately goes. And then that's what makes global competition tough, right? For others, actually, globalization and Chinese factories and China companies in the AI competition, for example, is really like 996, like working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, kind of like thing. But it's not completely right or wrong. It's great for society. And also, there's a thing that if you take a holiday in China, like national holidays, they actually shift the weekend to make up that holiday, like 调休, like exchange the, like shifting the weekend to make up for the holiday time, which means that you lose a weekend for the holiday, which is interesting. I remember back in Microsoft, we used to list out all global holidays, and for mainland China, you have to list out every single weekend. Either it's a working weekend or a work day. So I'm continuing to learn that that's part of the fire notes in China.